Okay, so today on Project Shop, we are going to be doing a little service on a 99 F-350 dually. Apparently this truck sat for many years, and upon driving over to my shop, the brakes locked up. This caliper got destroyed. I wind up pulling over. I couldn't get it unstuck, and basically I pulled it off, and when I did, the pistons in the caliper got destroyed, which was a shock to me because pretty much they were plastic, and I had no idea that they were putting plastic in brakes until now. So we got a rebuild here, and I actually took it apart a little bit because when it came, I always like to check and make sure these are moving. I couldn't get this one free, and if you look there, let's see if I can get that to focus. It had all kinds of crud at the end, so we're going to clean that off and stick that back in there with some new grease. But this is what I wanted to show you. So the new pistons are made of some type of plastic, and you can see by how easily I can scratch it. This is very disconcerting to me because of the amount of weight I pull and how heavy these trucks are. Basically, it's some type of plastic with a metal tin. You can see it's just tin. Now I'm going to take the old one apart and check it out and see if we can service them, because the other side is sticking. I can't move this at all. This one wasn't locked up like the other one, but we're going to go ahead and take that off, and just want to show you that safety first. Whenever you're working under a vehicle or doing any type of service work and you got to jack it up, always put jack stands. I put jack stands, and then I actually put the jack back under there and put pressure on it, just as a safety precaution. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this caliper off. Basically, we're going to pull this off right here, 17 millimeter. I believe this is like a 19 millimeter. And then once we get this on the bench, we'll inspect it. Okay, so I just wanted to correct myself on what tools you're going to need. This bolt back here is not a 19, it's actually a 21 millimeter. This is a 17, and this is a 14 millimeter. You're also going to need a heavy duty C-clamp. Now this one was frozen really bad. You can see I got a gap there, but I put this C-clamp on here and it didn't budge. So what I did is I put pressure on it and I just let it cook on there for a little bit. And then I came by every now and then, just put a little twist on it, and it finally freed up where I can get it right off. But what you're going to need is a 21 millimeter socket, 14 millimeter socket. You're going to need a 13 16ths to take the wheel lugs off, pry bar, and you don't really need this, but this is the crimp off the brake hose. So we'll put that on there, and how that works, you just kind of put it on there and pull this down. You squeeze it, it just comes down by itself. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to remove this first, get it up out of the way. Then we're going to remove these 17 millimeter bolts that hold the caliper to the bracket. And then we're going to remove these 21 millimeters. This didn't really need to be replaced, but it came with a new one. And then we're going to get into this caliper when I get it off. So this is what happened to the caliper when I tried to take it off. Because they were stuck and wouldn't retract, when I tried to pry them out, they got hung up on the brake pads. And you can see where the little nipple in the brake pad pulled through when I was prying it out. If these aren't metal, then they shouldn't rust. And they shouldn't have locked up like that. So, I don't know. I'm going to do some more research on these. I think they should be metal. Looks like they're just trying to cop out, maybe because of the machining involved. But you can tell these brakes were like brand new. There's no crud. And look, that one's still got clean. It's a shame. I guess that's what happens when you let things sit for 5 years. So we're going to go ahead and put these on. We're going to clean this one up. And then we're going to go ahead and take the driver's side off. Hopefully we get it apart and see if we can't service it somehow or get it unstuck. Otherwise we'll be putting calipers all the way around. So this is why I really hate remanufactured parts. This piece here goes all the way bottoms out, spins nice and smooth. This one here, thank God I checked it, gets in there about 80% and then just starts tightening up. So what we're gonna do is, because I've ran, this is what I put down in that brand new remanufactured part. This is the state of the bottom of that hole. So what we're gonna do is I got my 20 volt impact here. We're basically just gonna put this on here and try to run the burr out of there or whatever, just keep spinning it until it loosens up. And I need both hands for that, so I'll let you know how that works out when I'm done. Okay, so I put some fresh grease on there and then I ran that down in there, and that green grease turned brown. So what we're gonna do is, you can kind of see down there, I'm gonna try to clean it out one more time. I'm getting it in now 100% and I can spin it. It's tight, but I'm gonna remove that grease and put fresh grease in there, and I'm happy with that now. But the reason I just wanted to put this on the video is because you got to check these things. You know, somebody in Mexico probably rebuild this thing and they really don't care. So check your parts, people. So before I put this caliper back on, I just want to go over a couple things. It's always a good idea to check everything around whatever you're doing. Just kind of look around, you know, feel things, check things. I noticed there was some moisture down here. It looks like the axle seal is leaking. And then I want to just, there's no bearing on this outer side. I don't know if you can see that moving up and down. But basically, there's a bearing down there on that side, and then it kind of floats here, and there's just the seal. And then there's there's three bearings on this side. Basically it centers itself from here, and I noticed that the hub locker is really stiff. It does move, but it's really, I mean, I gotta put some beams to get that thing to move. And I don't know if you can, let's see if we can see it. It's basically just a snap ring. Can't really see it, but it's down in there. That'll come right out. I service mine all the time. The only difference between this and mine is this actually has the vacuum line for the switch on the dash. You don't even have to get out and lock these things, which is pretty cool. I wish I had that, but I do like the fact that I have a neutral on my transfer case. I can just manually put it in. With this vacuum stuff, to me it just seems like a lot more shit to go wrong, and to diagnose if your truck's not engaging in four-wheel drive. And it's always a good thing to engage these if you don't, even if you don't use them a lot. Maybe once a month or every couple of months, engage it, make sure everything's working, because things sit around, they lock up, and then you got all kinds of problems. So I just wanted to go over that with you before I put this back together.